I bought a new lens for my Lumix GX1, and it's this 7 Artisans 18mm 6.3 aperture. The idea being is that this gives you a 35mm equivalent focal length, and with a 6.3 aperture you have, basically everything in focus. Focus, he says in inverted commas. It's quite a soft lens. It's a fun lens. I bought it for two reasons. One, as I've just mentioned, that sort of 35mm focal length, and two, it just turns this Micro Four Thirds camera into something sort of point and shooty and pocketable. So yeah, it's quite fun. So I stopped in Stratford Upon Avon just briefly. Obviously it's a historic place, and I thought I'd go and take one or two photos and grab a sandwich. I didn't expect much, but I think as all of us, when we go out with a camera, you take some photos, you're hoping that you've got something that you can share. You don't want to just come back and look at your photos and just think, what a waste of time. And that was how I felt, I have to be honest. The screen on the back of here, my eyesight's not great when I'm this close, so the images didn't look great on the screen, and the focal length means you need to get a lot closer to subjects than I'm perhaps a bit more comfortable with. So I really wasn't initially very impressed with my images that I got, but then when I got back and I loaded them on the computer and cropped in a little bit, I ended up with what I think half a dozen quite fun images. So I'm just going to talk you through what I started with and what I ended up with, and let me know below what you think. So first of all, I spotted these guys standing outside the sort of museum shop, and they just looked like they were straight out of a Town and Country magazine, with the tweed coat, the dog in a tartan overcoat with a tartan leash, etc. I thought they looked really interesting, and I should have got a bit closer. Actually, when I cropped in and framed it like this with these bollards to the left and them to the right, actually I think this is quite an interesting image, and they're definitely really interesting characters, and you'd love to know what they're talking about. Catching people outside of coffee shops is really kind of a street photography cliche. I hurried this photo. I was just walking back to my car and I saw these and I took a quick snap. It's a little bit blurry, but once I've cropped in, I've actually got this image of a few people spending their their time having a coffee and checking his email or his ACCA for the Champions League match tonight, who knows. And then some people behind doing some shopping in a window. It's nothing fascinating, but I think just, again, it's a snapshot of life, which is what a lot of street photography is actually about. And then these two, they were actually, I spotted them taking photos of each other outside of like a little souvenir shop, and then I turned around and saw they were taking this photo of the one girl sat on the bench, and I took a very quick, hurried photo. But then once I zoomed in and framed it a little differently, I think this is quite a fun street image, to be honest. I'm not quite sure what I was aiming for here, but again, this was this cliche of a little pool of light, some negative space. I don't know if I've ended up with something that's interesting or not. I might post it on Instagram, and who knows, as part of a little reel of photos, and someone might like it. What caught my eye here was this guy and this lady stood by this lamppost having a conversation. What are they talking about? He looks very official. He's got these badges and all that kind of stuff around his neck, and I was wondering what the conversation was about. It would have been great to go a little bit closer, and actually, when you crop in a little bit, you can get a bit closer. And then I noticed there's obviously other people in the picture, which I wasn't really aware of when I initially took it. And then when you crop in again, there's this old guy walking away from the bin, probably disposing of some incriminating evidence, perhaps. Who knows? But again, sorry, just people in places. I think it's quite interesting. I stood down this alleyway hoping for like a bicycle or somebody with a dog or something to walk past. Again, cliched street photography. And it didn't happen. But I then noticed the lady at the end with the red coat and the sort of the red shop front behind, and it just caught my eye just a little bit, so I took the photo. Once you zoom in a little, you can then see this moment. Again, I don't know what she's doing, what she's thinking. Is she checking a bus time? Is she answering a message? Is she sending a message? Who knows? But I don't know. I was sort of pleased with this. Again, I think a little Instagram image, it might be of interest. And then I thought there was this image. I saw this open space. There was a guy literally right smack bang in the middle of it. So I took the photo and I moved on. I didn't really put much thought into it. I probably shouldn't have taken the photo really, because it just seemed a bit hurried and rushed. But actually, when I zoom in and I crop it a little differently, you've then got this sort of like two different generations. You've got this old guy walking on his own, perhaps looking a little bit apprehensive as he's walking down the street. And then behind him, you have three, I'm assuming from a distance here, young ladies coming out of a shop, perhaps giggling, laughing. Maybe they've just had a liquid lunch, or they're comparing nail varnish that they've just bought. And it sounds a bit sexist, but I'm sorry. There we go. So my original plan was I was going to make a video saying that you can't hurry photography, and I wasn't even going to show you any of these photos, and I was just going to make a quick video saying you can't go out, expect that you're going to get some bangers in half an hour. And I don't think I've got any bangers, but I think I've actually got some interesting images in half an hour wandering around Stratford once I figured out how to use the lens properly. Just need to get a bit braver and get a bit closer to some subjects. But anyway, let me know what you think. Put some comments below. There's a link to my Instagram below as well, so please follow me on Instagram. Let me know what you think of these photos. My Instagram feed is full of all sorts of random stuff, by the way, so don't expect it to be all street photography or anything like that. But yeah, be interested in your thoughts. And thanks again for coming and watching one of my videos. Hopefully you've watched a couple by now.